I'm like, Lord, like, he's so, he's so, the Lord is so awesome.
Okay, Mark 14, 26 to 31. He was like bragging, like, I would never do this, Lord. I will go with you till the end. Mentiroso, liar. It's not going to happen. Okay? Proverbs 16, 18 says this. But pride always comes before a fall. I would rather say, Lord, I don't know if I can go with you all the way to the end. Lord, if they're coming to kill you, I might run away. I'm being honest with you. I want to be honest with God. You know? He bragged that he would never deny Christ. But in Mark 14:66, he denies Christ. Mark 14:22, he broke down and he wept. Mark 14:22, he breaks down and he weeps because he knows what he's done. Okay? He did what he stated he would never do, just like us. We do the opposite of what we stated because we fall into a position that I don't want to deal with it. That's terrible. That's terrible. What Peter did was terrible. I mean, isn't it? It's like, no, it's not. Because we do the same thing every day. And we look at Peter like he's the only one. No, because when they grabbed him at the garden, what did the disciples do? Run for their lives. Come on. They ran for their lives. Each one, I'm jetting out of here, man. My life is worth more. I'm not going to be crucified. I am not going to be caught. No, let them take him. I'm out. And they're all gone. They're just like Peter. We're all like Peter. I'm not going to blame Peter for what he did because I would have probably done the same thing. When they came up to me on the street, who? What? Jesus? I don't even know that guy. He preaches all over. I don't believe anything he's saying. Oh, then you're not the guy. I'm not the guy. I'm telling you, we would have done the same thing. If you're put in that situation and they put you up against the wall, you're going to deny everything you ever knew. That's why I have a heart for those martyrs across on the other side of the world that get burned alive for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I mean, they get burned alive, poured gasoline and killed alive. I mean, that's like standing up for the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we got to put ourselves in that position. Would I be Peter? I would have been Peter. I would have probably done the same thing. And this is the sad part, okay? And this happens to a lot of so-called Christians, okay? And this I am going to read. John chapter 2. John chapter 2. Sorry, John chapter 21. John chapter 21. And when you get there, say amen. John chapter 21. John chapter 21. Now, John 21. Now, Job, he got everything back and more. David finally became king, right? Yeah. Peter denied Christ. And of course, he's going to be forgiven, right? But this is a part that is very discouraging to me. Because this happens to so many Christians. And I don't know if I want to call them Christians, but these are people who follow the Lord. And if I would spend 3 years with Jesus, who was there in the flesh, that I can actually touch him, that I'm walking around with this man who's healing people and performing miracles, who's speaking the word of God for 3 years. Don't you think that I would be like, I'll be jumping over roofs. I'll be walking on water. Why? Because I'm walking with the Son of God. The one that John the Baptist says, prepare the way. And here's the man who's the Son of God. And this is what happens. And this happens to all of us. Because I remember when they let us go from the church, that was the most difficult time in my life. I didn't want to know anything about church. I didn't want no Christians telling me you need to get back to church. I didn't want nobody telling me what to do. I didn't want to go back and serve under any church. I'm not going to bother with that anymore. I'm not going to help any church. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Why? Because I was mad at the church. And I was mad at God for what he did to my family. And I was upset inside. Because now we had to live with credit cards. And I got 4 kids and a wife. And I got bills to pay. And I got things that we need to pay, and here we are without a job, without an income. What do I do now? Do I turn and go work at another church? And no, I was mad. I was upset. I was angry. I doubted God. Why did you take us all the way to Miami for this? I would have stayed in my cushiony job at the church in New York, and made my 6 figures and just hang out in my office and preach the gospel to the youth and preach the gospel on the streets, and I'll be satisfied with that. But that's not what God had intentionally planned for us. God had more for us. And I didn't come to realize later on why God did what he did. Because guess what? I would not be here today. You would not be here today if God didn't do what Pastor always said to me, and that turned me around. He says, God, you were not fired. You were promoted. This is a promotion from God. God promoted you to the next level. And every day of our lives, we got to look at it as a promotion. When things don't work out over here and you're blaming God and you're ridiculing God and you're saying, Lord, why? You got to go and say, Lord, where are you taking me? Where are you leading me? What are you trying to tell me? Because we wouldn't have our business today. Because we wouldn't be able to bless people like we bless them. Okay, we wouldn't have the income we have so that we can say, look, here, take this, take that. We gave everything away from the church yesterday. We gave all this stuff away. Why? Because God is going to bless us with more. The more we gave away our van, our 15-passenger van. How could you give away? The lady at U was like, how could you give away a 15-passenger van? That's so much money. I said, because God will bless us with a bigger one, a better one, if that's his will. God will bless you with more. Give away your car. When we went yesterday to take this man to his house, I'm like, if I could, I would give you my truck. It's like those things that in our hearts is like God is taking you to places that you don't know that they're there until you get there. But we don't realize it because in the beginning you're upset and you're mad and you're doubtful. And that was me. And my kids know that. My wife would know that. And they wanted nothing to know about church. And we get angry with God. And this is what happened to me. Okay? I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me this morning. John chapter 1. Afterward, Jesus appeared again to his disciples by the Sea of Tiberias. It happened this way. Simon Peter, Thomas, called Didymus, Nathanael, they were all there, sons of Zebedee, and 2 other disciples were together. Verse 3. I am going out to fish, Simon Peter told them. What did Simon Peter do? Hey guys, I'm done. I'm going fishing. I'm going back to my trade. Okay? I'm going back. You guys coming? You coming? Come on, Kevin. Let's go, man. Let's go. Forget about this Jesus. Forget about this whole thing, Crucified. He's dead. Let's go fishing. You know what that meant to me? Tim, let's just go back to our old way of life. Come on. Let's go back to, I don't want to go back to my old way of life. I don't want to go back to the person I used to be. I don't want to go back over there. Even though we think we're holy, we're righteous, and you think because you didn't do this, you didn't do that, we're all sinners saved by God's grace. Amen. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not better than Kevin. We're all the same at the cross. I don't care if you're a bishop, archbishop, whatever you want to call yourself, prophet this, prophet that. We're all equal at the cross. And here, I am reading this scripture. He went back to fishing. He went back to his old life. I don't want to go back to my old life. We want to give up. I wanted to give up. I'm telling you, I wanted to give up, give everything up. But look at what happens. Simon Peter told them, and they said, we'll go with you. So they went out and got into the boat, but they caught nothing. So guess what? Let's just bring everybody with us. Come on, man, it's not working out. Let's go. God's not answering my prayers. God's not, what's going on? You know, God's not doing what he said he was going to do. How long is this going to take? And here I am saying, come on, Tim, join me in my pity party. Come on, Kevin, join me in my pity party. Come on, Nikki, let's go. Come on, let's go back to fishing. Forget about this whole thing that we just spent 3 years with this man. And they went back to their old way of life. And who appears on the shores? Jesus. Hey, why don't you throw your nets to the other side? I don't want to throw my nets to the other side because I know what I'm doing, because I'm a professional fisherman. And so are these guys that are with me. Okay? Yeah, but you caught nothing all night, and we're not going to catch anything if we throw it to the other side. And all God is asking you to give him a chance. Because if you throw your nets to the other side, there's a great catch for you. And see, there was a great catch for me and my family if we would just throw the nets to the other side and stop living in my pity party. And when we decided to throw our nets to the other side, we caught a whole bunch of fish. And I'm not just talking about people. You know, I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about God just opened my eyes. That he's real. That he's, you know, no matter how many mission trips you take, no matter how far you can go, how much you serve God, how much you think you know, how much you read the word, how much you... There comes a time in your life when you just want to give up. Let me tell you, and I will not give up. Not at this point in my life. I will not give up on God. Not give up. I'll keep moving forward. You know, I'll keep pressing forward. And guess what? And here they became great men of God. Why? Because they threw their nets to the other side. And they caught a great catch. And the disciples did not realize that it was Jesus. And in verse 5, he called out to them, and friends, haven't you caught anything? No, they answered. He said, throw your nets on the other side of the boat and you'll find some. When they did, they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number of fish. Then the disciples, whom Jesus loved, said to Peter, it is the Lord. As soon as Simon Peter heard this, it is the Lord, he wrapped his garment around him. What did he do? Jump in the water. Started running towards him. You see? God's involved in everything in our lives. Whether we're Job, whether we're David, and whether we're Peter, okay? Even doubting Thomas. Come on, we're doubting Thomas a lot of times too. You know? It's the same when somebody asks you, how do you promote your business? I don't. God does. And they don't understand that. What are you talking about? God does. Don't you advertise? No, God is my advertisement. Wow, that doesn't make any sense. Good, because it shouldn't make sense. I don't want it to make sense to you. But I know who my God is, and I know what my God is doing in my life. And I know that he's real. And even in my times of doubt and frustration and torment, and when I don't understand things, I need to just get over it and move on. Because I don't want to stay in my pity party. And I don't want you to stay in your pity party.